Mortgage agreement in principle is a credit check that the lender does to check your creditworthiness, and it's an indication of whether they'll say yes or no when you come to make a full application. So it's really useful actually, because it saves you having to sort of collate all your documents up front and find a house, put the full application. You don't need to be disappointed. It's just a good early gauge of whether the lender that we apply to is likely to say yes. One of the biggest reasons that people try and get an agreement in principle early in the process is the estate agents tend to want you to prove that you're in a position to proceed before you make an offer, and in some instances before they'll let you actually view the property as well. No one likes to deal with a time waster, but actually it's good for the customer as well. It gives you that comfort, that confidence that despite the fact that you know you've got a 999 perfect credit score, it's just good to have that bit of paper just to say, yes, I've been qualified, I've got my certificate, I'm in a position to go ahead. You'd get a mortgage in principle by contacting a mortgage broker like ourselves. We'll carry out what we call a fact find, so we'll gather information on you, we'll get your permission to run a credit check, we'll find the most suitable lender for you, recommend that lender, and we'll log on to that lender's website, submit your details, and usually it's an instant decision. Okay, so within an hour or two of your mortgage meeting with us, certainly no longer than 24 hours, you'll get a response back with a yes or a no. It's really important to get it done early, because if it is a no, then we can go through your credit report with you, see perhaps get an indication of why the lender might have said no, and help you put right any wrongs. Different lenders' agreement in principles last for different lengths of time. So I don't think I've ever seen any less than 28 days. So about a month is the minimum. Some are up to 2 or 3 months ahead. I wouldn't worry too much about the length of time your agreement in principle has on it or when the expiration date is. The reason that you get the agreement in principle is just to get an early indicator of whether or not you're likely to be accepted for that mortgage when you come to apply for it. So just because you agreed in principle, you've got your certificate that expires on the 31st of December, the clock isn't ticking. You don't necessarily have to buy a property within that time scale. It's a disaster if you buy the wrong house. So if the agreement in principle expires, it's no problem. Just recontact ourselves and we'll get it refreshed so that you've got an in-date one for that time that you want to go ahead and make an offer. An agreement in principle is just that. It's not a formal offer. Okay, so at that point in time, the lender has credit checked you, but they haven't gone through your pay slips or forensically checked through your bank statements for any bounce direct debits or gambling transactions or things that might bother the lender. So it's not a cast iron guarantee. All you've done is you've passed the credit check, which you're about 50% of the way there. Lenders underwrite you, so that means they're going to request all your documentation, ask some questions about your circumstances, what your plans are in the next few years. So it's the first hurdle covered, but things can still go wrong. And that's why I think you should have a broker on your side who's going to predict some of the questions that the lender is going to ask, have all the documents on file to ensure the process goes as smoothly as possible, but we still think it's a great idea to get your agreement in principle done at the outset of the process. Thanks for watching the video. We do rely on user-generated content, so please subscribe if you found the information useful, and send me a question in the comments below or drop me an email and I'll do my best to answer it.